You know, when you come to see a legendary performer, you walk into the concert hall expecting to see a legendary performance. Does that kind of pressure get to you?
No.
What do you feel before you step on stage? What are you thinking about?
Don't forget any of these lyrics.
Still, you do that? Is it just the new songs or all the songs?
No, sometimes if we have something new that's going in the show, I do have to go over it. Sometimes right at the curtain to be sure everything is where it's supposed to be.
Would I know if you were having a flat show?
I would hope not. They don't pay to see that, you know? I would hope not. Yeah, but sure, I think they would know that if I really didn't feel well.
Are there any tricks that you've got to take yourself up another notch?
No, but amazingly, you can come to a concert and really not feel quite up to it that night, and the audience can put you there, you know. They can just turn the whole thing around. An audience that's appreciative and that's spontaneous and they're excited about everything. You just appreciate the fact that they appreciate it so much. You forget about you didn't feel so hot tonight. You just forget about that and you just get in the groove with the audience and off we go.
You got a few sparkles that are around.
Well, there are remnants of what was there before the concert. I am wiped out right now.
How much does a concert take out of you?
Well, look at my hair. It's gone. It's shot.
Yeah, but your hair, it's just a hair. What about your voice, your back,
and
your
everything?
feet?
Well, I'm a little tired, but I feel good. Yeah.
How do you go from standing out on stage where thousands of people are clapping and loving you to getting home and doing your own shopping and doing your own laundry?
Well, I'm just mom at home. Yeah. As Roseanne says, I'm a domestic goddess at home.
You garden? You've got your own
yes,
roses.
I do. Yeah. I don't have roses, but I garden. Yeah. In fact, I have a very small greenhouse. It's about 4 feet high, and I'm just going to go and get some potted things to plant some vegetables. I've got some green beans, I've got tomatoes, I've got corn and things like that. And then I was watching Martha Stewart do a little pre-quick thing that you can do just prior to putting it in the ground. It's like you get they're all in squares, and it's like 24 squares. But anyway, she said you take one seed and you put it in the soil as far down as the seed is long. And then you cover it all again, and then you lightly spray it. And I've got a little hand spray, a great hand spray, and I'm just raring to get home and get in all this dirt and stuff.
Well, I guess that's the thing about you, is that you've always been able to do almost any kind of music. But how important is change for you?
I like variety.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like variety.
Why is it? Does it you feel that popular music changes so much?
In men and food and no.
Variety in men? Is that what you're looking for?
No. Music.
But pop music changes so much. I mean, do you feel like you have to change as quickly as it does?
No. Mm-mm.
And yet you do manage.
But you want to be contemporary. Yeah.
Lauryn Hill was saying that after you had done the vocal session and you had left, and I don't know if it was a rose, it's still a rose, but something like that. She said she went into the booth and she said it smelled like church. It was pure and full of energy.
And what does church smell like?
Smells like old books to me.
What church did you go to?
Well, I went to United Church. It smelled like old hymnaries and old books.
My church doesn't smell like that.
What does it smell like?
My church smells like a lot of good fried chicken and homemade rolls and fried corn and things like that. Unfortunately, we didn't have any of that on the set of A Rose is Still a Rose.
Does singing feel like church to you?
It depends on what I'm singing.
Do you still go to church?
Oh, of course. Of course. I'll always go to church. And I don't have to be in the building to go to church. When I was very, very young, maybe about 16. And it was my first trip to New York. I had never been beyond the city limits of Detroit. And I went to New York and I took a few classes, some choreography and some vocal lessons and things like that. And then when I went back home, I didn't think I was supposed to do housework anymore. This is too mundane for me. I'm not supposed to do that. I've been to New York. So I'm a star now. You know, that kind of thing. And everyone else was working, my sisters and cousin, and my dad came in, and I was just standing there watching them do what they were doing. They were sweeping and vacuuming and things like that. And he said, "What's the matter with you?" I said, "What do you mean, what's the matter with me?" He said, "Why aren't you helping to clean this house?" I said, "I'm a star. I'm not supposed to do that. I've been to New York." He said, "Well, listen, star, you better get in the kitchen and introduce yourself to all those dirty dishes in there." And I have not been a star since.
Wow.
Yeah, I really needed that. He grounded me and he gave me balance. And from then on, I'm not a star. I'm the lady next door.
Who's also called the Queen of Soul. I live next door to the Queen of Soul.
Yeah, okay. Well, what can I say?
Why weren't you ever on the Ed Sullivan Show?
I was supposed to be on the Ed Sullivan Show, and I was indeed there and gowned and everything, and then I was bumped from the show. While we were rehearsing, I heard a voice come over, a voiceover say, "Her gown is too low. Get her off the stage and put her in another gown."
Too much cleavage?
Yes, too much cleavage. And I said, "Well, no problem." I bought about 4 gowns. So I went and got one that went all the way up the neck. And I came back. "Is this okay?" Sure, that's okay." And then my agent, and I was about 16, told me finally, he said, "I have to talk to you." "About what?" "Well, you've been bumped off the show." "What? I'm not going to sing?" "No, unfortunately, you've been bumped off the show." And I just went out of the side door crying all the way down the side street. How could Ed Sullivan do this to me? After all of the rehearsal that we had gone through and everything, just nothing.
What I read about you tends more to be about the hard times, the divorces, the deaths of your parents.
That's a ridiculous statement.
Well, that's
I just can't imagine where and what you've been reading, or where you where do you get these things?
From Time magazine.
What, 30 years ago or 40 years ago?
I just go
Time
through
magazine was
stack.
1961.
60, was it 8?
67, something like that. Oh, that's totally antiquated. Yeah. And then it was off. The person that wrote the piece wrote it all out of context and misquoted me. And that's one of the main reasons that I'm writing the book that I'm writing now. And I'm writing my memoirs and life story just to make some of the corrections and to correct these inaccuracies, and particularly the ones like what you just mentioned.
Exactly.
That is the main reason that I'm writing my book.
Well, that's the book that I want to read, because I don't think, well, it hasn't been told, the full story. Do you?
Oh, of course not.
Do you like it? Do you like writing this stuff down? Do you like telling your own story and?
I'm enjoying it very much. Yes. Yeah.
Is it hard for you to be?
Yes, there are hard parts, and there are days that there are a lot of tears, but that's not every day. Yeah.
And when is that going to come out?
That will be out in the spring of '99. We're a little more than half through with it now, and I'm writing it with David Ritz. And it's therapeutic as well. And for me to tell the story is for people to know the truth.
Do you feel any of the riskiness of love gets harder to take?
No, I don't think so. No, you just need to find the man.
How do you do that?
How do you do that?
I was really lucky. I found one 20 years ago.
And you've been with him ever since? Well, you were lucky. Usually doesn't last that long for some people. You've really hit a gold vein if you get a 20-year marriage or a 20-year relationship. Is tremendous.
I think about someone...
Some don't last 20 days.
I think it would be hard for men to meet you because they'd be intimidated by who you are and your celebrity, and they'd just be too scared to come forward.
A lot of males might be intimidated, but not men. Men rise to the occasion with no sweat. Right? Am I right or am I right?
And once they get to you, you know you've separated the males from the men.
Hello. I don't want to run. I do appreciate your coming, but I've really got to go.
Have you ever done a Canadian television interview before?
No. I don't think so.
Well,
I don't think so. I
Welcome
do
to
believe
Canada.
this is my first N. Yes.
Thank you very
Je
much.
suis étudiant en français Berlitz.
Oh, you are? Very good.
Très bon.
Merci beaucoup, Aretha.
Merci beaucoup.